Natural selezione, digital dual,
That changes a lot, doesn't it?
and even more. For example, I had already eliminated the federal tax on the digit since last year. And what have we done here now? We eliminated the tax on the digit. I eliminated the tax on gasoline, the federal tax on gasoline, and the states reduced it to 17%. So it was a sharp drop. And a decree of ours, a decree from Minister Saxida, who is from Energy and Mines, said that the gas stations have to display the fuel price charged on June 22nd.
Wasn't that your idea?
No, I did it. Oh, okay, that's fine. Well, I proposed another idea to him about that, and he improved on my idea. Since he's from the sector, from the field, he's a very intelligent guy. He put it in place and he's improving it. I pushed the decree, and he improved the decree.
But, President, that's not... Look, for people who are paying attention to Brazilian politics, man, we know that this is an election year. And this seems a bit like playing to the crowd, doesn't it?
Look, if you're going to talk, for example, about the Brazilian aid for those who are starving, teach them to play to the crowd.
No, but I'm talking specifically about the cost.
No, I don't see that. Look. The trend in fuel prices, also given the war in Ukraine and Russia, is to increase. Petrobras had its policy called PPI. It's the international price parity. And I didn't have any information from Petrobras. Actually, what was the PEI? Because Petrobras is behaving more like a company that is insensitive to its social role, as defined in the Constitution and in the law for state-owned companies.
Petrobras, what percentage of the government's money is it? I think it's around 50, right?
No, just look and see. It's the first quarter. Profit of $44 billion. Oil companies all over the world have reduced their profit margins. Petrobras didn't lower their profit margins. The last one, now from the second quarter, 55 billion, even taking a little bit of the reduction of something there. It's an exorbitant profit. We want the state-owned company to make a profit, as it has made during my administration. We went from a deficit to a surplus. But not that... In Petrobras, I'll change the minister right now with the stroke of a pen. Yeah. In 30 minutes, the official Federal Gazette will publish X. That's it. It's changed. Not Petrobras. It's a whole ritual. It takes on average 45 days for you to change. You change the president.
To change the president?
You know how much the president of Petrobras earns?
No. I guess the amount is really high.
$40. 210,000.
Damn.
How much does a Petrobras director earn? 100,000. End of the year. According to your earnings, you get another 8 bonus salaries. I'm not against the guy earning well. No. I'm not against the guy. It's also a state-owned company that has private shares. It's not my state-owned company. When there's a problem, people attack me. When there's no problem, they don't attack me. So now, with a new president, within the legislation, within the statute, we've managed to start working better. You can see we've already announced a reduction in gasoline prices twice. Once in the single digits. 35 cents on gasoline, 20 cents in the single digit. It's starting to feel a little better.
But this reduction has to do with the reduction in ICMs, right?
No. Our reduction is in the refinery. ICMs and that's another story. The ceiling has been increased to 17%. Not just for fuels. Also for gas? No, I had already reduced gas prices back then, but it applies to gas as well. So, but the ICMs is for the states. I don't think there is a state that was charging more than 17. I reduced it to 0 at the beginning of last year.
That's probably law 19,422. It must be. Yes, you just need to consider goods and services related to fuels, among other essential services that in practice go down. You can see A.
People there who play games, who have phones and cell phones. Also, the average ICMs was a little over 25%. It went up to 17%. Done anyway. For the phone, the cell phone, the bills have already arrived. Another nice reduction was in the price of ICMs on electricity. If you have a bakery, a salon,
For beauty, you can find it here.
if you send for the bill here now, you'll get something. Now, is it electoral? Oui, isn't it? The parliament approved it.
The question is why it didn't come before.
Now you can see, it's already been agreed. It goes with the economic team. We're going to keep the discount next year. What happens? Look, you even asked here before. How are you reducing taxes and collecting more? There's a so-called Lafayette curve. I don't know much about economics.
But I know what it's about.
I went looking. I went digging. So you keep increasing taxes, you keep collecting. There comes a certain point. You don't increase taxes, you don't increase personal revenue. What's the point? Tax evasion. What? It's going to evasion. When we reduced a lot of taxes in Brazil, it was on thousands of items. I can tell you a few. Among them gamers, they started selling more. We had a huge excess of revenue last year. Now, a detail, an important thing here.
67 billion therein.
Guys, pay attention. I can't use this excess revenue to help Tarcísio build roads, Marcos Pontes invest more in graphene and niobium. I can't help Rogério Marinho build more projects in Brazil. I can't do anything. It's true that you're making money if people are working here, earning 5,000 a month. Suddenly, you do a side job and start earning 10. You can't use those 5. Given the ceiling law, I was the first president to adopt the ceiling law. And even with all that sorry, we did a lot. Tarcísio has a budget of approximately 7 billion per year. It's nothing, considering the size of Brazil. You invest in ports, airports, railways, waterways. You invest in that. Road transport. Now, what was Tarcísio's intelligence? Come on, where there's a ferry, let's attack the ferryman. The Abuna Bridge, for example. Look here, there. In region, Rondônia, that. A truck paid on average 200 reais to cross a 100-meter river. We built the bridge, that's it. And it helped to reduce the price of what arrives at Rio Branco in acre. You had a railroad, for example, 163. Tarcísio talked to me. This 163 is 50 kilometers long. It hasn't been paved since Geisel's time. And during the rainy season, which is half the months of the year, a truck takes on average 10 days to cross that. He got the Brazilian army with an agreement with the Minister of Defense, with the army commander, and we because the army personnel worked 24 hours a day. And in a few months we laid it was paved. That story is over. And the army, you take one of our soldiers, for example, and he works. It's not 24 hours a day he has to rest. But a shift is 24 hours a day.
A little 2 for 1 there.
You, who seem to have served in the army.
A little 2 for 1 to make it look good, right? You can't decide what you like.
You got the zip code there on the beach, on the river, tranquility. These kids who are away from their families, etc., earn on average 30 reais a day. Per day. Sorry for the redundancy here. 30 reais a day. I tried to double that amount, but the pandemic came. It ruined everything.
Still, on the subject of fuel prices there, the Petrobras thing. Man, I remember I talked to your son, Eduardo, and at the time he had told me about General Luna, who was about to become the president of Petrobras, and that we could expect good things there. That, in fact, Petrobras was doing well until we started having a lot of crises and such. My question actually is, what could be done to reduce the price of gasoline was to change the ICMs. Wasn't there anything else the president could do?
Look at that. Alanillo, Silvio Luna, the general, was 10 Itaipu binational. That's Alanillo. You knew Itaipu binational. As a term, it was a binational, right, as the name suggests, that generated energy. He arrived, we plugged the corruption drains because practically all state-owned companies had that. And Itaipu started producing. We here, in 2 months at the most, will be inaugurated. I won't be there because it's election time, the second bridge with Paraguay. It has a span of almost 500 meters. It's a huge project. They've already started building the second bridge there in Porto Martino, also with Paraguay. It's our bio-oceanic route, thinking ahead. We've extended the Foz to Iguaçu Airport by 600 meters. It landed in Argentina, and it will occupy the eastern region of Argentina, not Brazil. We did that. It has changed completely. The so-called boiadeira. Among other works, what is a boiadeira? It's a highway there, okay? And that, for example, among other works, we discussed with the governor of Paraná, Retino. Talk to him. Itaipu Binational serves approximately 50 municipalities in the region of the Itaipu Binational Lake. So Itaipu Binational also started doing things that this money went somewhere in the past. Disappeared. Because the state-owned companies were the focus of attention. And what happened?
Did this money become cash?
No. The money that you have in excess, you invest in the region.
Okay.
Perhaps motivated by this, Governor Ratinho, the forecast is to finish 70 PG8s, small hydroelectric plants this year. Almost all of them with fish farming. It's called tilapia, the most common fish. You can see a lake with 100% tilapia, a lake of 100 dm by 100 dm in a way. Natural farming, you catch 10 to 15 tons of tilapia per year. If you share, you multiply it by 10. We are working with Jorge Safe, who has now left the fisheries department on the Itaipu Lake. And we need support from Paraguay, since the lake is also binational. Paraguay should grant this concession, so to speak. We intend to multiply the volume of fish in Brazil by 40% with the binational Itaipu Lake by sharing. With a view to the future, what did I say in the recipe, and we talked about it. We are going to eliminate the federal tax on fish feed. So this study is quite advanced. Why? There's no point in starting to raise fish with an expensive tax. On fish feed. Let's generate that. Because you get the pencil curve, right? You win with that. You can't talk about going hungry in Brazil, a country with as much water as ours.
For the love of God, right?
This doesn't make sense. And raising lapia is easy there. You have it. Embrapa. The study we had is from Embrapa. Embrapa, in fact, since I took over together with Moretti, who is the president of Embrapa, right? Is that right, Moretti? He is investing in wheat in a warmer region of Brazil. Roraima is already in a position to plant 1 million hectares of irrigated wheat. Wow. This year we increased wheat production 8 million tons per year. We consume 12, and we still import 4. According to Embrapa, in a few years we will become an exporter of wheat in a volume similar to that which we consume here. It is a vision of the future.
Fucked.
When you take, for example, what did you go to Russia to do in February? Talking about fertilizers? Almost the entire media is bashing me. In my own ministry there was...
The timing was kind of shitty, right? With all due respect.
When did you want me to go? Well, after I had started the war.
There was no way around it, right?
That's the truth. I'm going to tell you something important, by the way, here. So I went, we talked. I spent 3 hours with Putin. The distance is mine with yours, without a mask. Different from when he received Macron, 10 meters away, with a mask. And we discussed a lot of things there. One was the issue of fertilizer. Our agribusiness depends on fertilizer. Now, Louis, that is a few weeks ago, the president of the World Trade Organization came to my office. She left there, made a statement outside. The world without Brazil goes hungry. You, our agribusiness without fertilizers, not only do you not guarantee our food security, you are also putting the food security of more than 1 billion people around the world at risk. The business is fertilizer. I can't say everything, nor will I, for ethical reasons. A few weeks ago, President Zelensky wanted to talk to me. He's getting shot down there.
He must be angry with you, right?
No, what did he ask me? That I join the group, right, to boycott economic measures against Russia.
But I saw that we kind of doubled our commercial relationship with Russia.
Yes, it doubled. I am the president of Brazil. Then he asked, at a certain point, not in that way, but I answered him. If I had the power to end the war, it is a sign that I had much more power to prevent it from starting. And I went to talk to Putin before the war started. Nobody knew if it would happen, if it wouldn't, or when it would happen. Everything that was agreed with Putin was fulfilled. Especially the issue of fertilizers. Now some say it is helping agribusiness. I consider agriculture nowadays basically the locomotive of our economy. It's your food security. It's the price of food you pay there. And I'm going to deal with issues in Brazil. I don't want war. We have 600,000 relatives of Ukrainians living here in Paraná. So I think they understand what's going on. What I said to the Germans, if it were up to me, would end the war today. Now, how did this war start? How will it end? I will not comment because I am the head of state. Any other military man there can speak and will say exactly what I think, right?
But, President, we started on this subject because I asked you about General Silvio Luna, putting him in charge of Petrobras there. Was it during his administration that prices started to rise?
But it wasn't his fault. The issue also came up. The pandemic had that maxim, stay at home, and the economy will see you later. Look, if you're producing less, there's less stuff on the shelf. If there is less stuff on the shelf, prices go up. And also fuel because of the war abroad. It reached almost 140 doses in a barrel of oil. And have a direct reflection here inside. Now, according to the PPI, which is the international price parity, you didn't need to immediately readjust fuel prices. You have a grace period if it were harmful. You would take this resource and hit the dividends that the company pays.
Yes, it would reduce profits.
This was done immediately. That's when we replaced Silvio and Luna. We replaced Silvio and Luna. Then another boy came in there, right? A kid, because I'm 67 years old, and there are people who are great-grandfathers who are the same age as me here. 67 and 67. That didn't work out either. Then we changed. We brought in Caio, who was part of Paulo Guedes' economic team. We talked to him. Caio studied the PPI, see when the PPI was born. It was born when the price of oil was way down, so there was no